October 18th, 2025. Coffee Talk Confessions. Marnie was still in rehab. Don had been texting her, quietly, respectfully, never pushing. He's been calling her and planning on visiting. He gives her weekly updates from the school since the year started. He never mentioned Rebecca. Marnie never asked. Their friendship had deepened, but neither of them called it anything yet. Not love, not dating, just something steady in the storm. The two of them had agreed to meet at a local coffee shop to catch up. The bell above the door jingles as Marnie steps inside, brushing a few golden leaves off her coat. The place smells like cinnamon and espresso, with indie folk playing low over the speakers. Don's already at a corner table, nursing a half-empty cappuccino and flipping through the local paper. He looks up, grins, and stands halfway to greet her. Marnie smiles, dropping her handbag on the table. "You haven't changed a bit. Still early, still caffeinated." She gives him a brief and warm hug. Don smiled warmly. "And you still make an entrance. Sit down. Tell me everything." Marnie sat comfortably across from Don, her hands resting on the table. "Well, rehab, limited communication. You know how it goes," she sighed heavily. "I've been doing my best in there, trying to make progress, but it's hard, because you're constantly on my mind." Don's expression softens. "I know rehab can be hard, but you're not alone, okay? I never stop thinking about you, either." Gently rubs her knuckles with his thumb, his hand wrapped around hers. "I'm really proud of you. You know that?" Marnie's heart swelled as he said those words. She had been feeling insecure and discouraged lately, struggling with her recovery process, and his words were a much-needed reminder that she had someone who was rooting for her. "Thank you, Don," she squeezes his hand gently. "It means a lot to hear that, but I have to admit, I was nervous about seeing you. I was worried things would be different between us." Don stiffened his grip on her hand. "Why would things be different, Marnie? I think we left off on a good note." Marnie cleared her throat, looking down. "I just feel guilty for what happened at Kara's birthday party. I never meant to make you feel the way you did. I was just nervous, and I wasn't able to show you how I really felt about you. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel like you were my property and I was trying to buy your love. That was wrong of me. I shouldn't have cornered you like that," Marnie admitted. Don listened intently to Marnie's apology, his expression softening as he heard her words. He had been harboring feelings of hurt and confusion since that night, but hearing her explanation and her apology eased his uncertainty. He reached out and gently lifted her chin, making her meet his gaze. "Marnie, I accept your apology. I understand now why you acted the way you did, and I don't hold it against you." "And Rebecca," she draws a breath, steadying herself. "My sister, my only damn sibling. She told me straight up she was never into you. Not once. She just wanted to mess with me. Wanted me jealous, insecure, out of the picture. She weaponized you to keep me small," Marnie sighed loudly. "Man, I love her, but she really makes some shitty decisions sometimes." Don leaned back in his chair, his expression turning serious as he digested Marnie's words. He had always assumed there was some kind of romantic tension between him and Rebecca, but hearing that it was a way to mess with Marnie was both disappointing and confusing. I can't believe I got tangled up in a sibling competition." He shook his head, his knuckles turning white as he clenched his fists. "I hate being dragged into things like this." "I'm sorry, Don. I really never meant to hurt you. I don't know what Rebecca was trying to do, but she failed. I'll never forgive her for it." Don's expression softened briefly at Marnie's apology, but he still seemed troubled. He knew how much family meant to her, especially her sister, and hearing her speak about her in such a harsh manner made him uneasy. "Maybe you shouldn't be so hard on your sister," he suggested cautiously. "Sure, she made a mistake, but you're sisters. You've been through a lot together, right? You can't just throw all of that away because she messed up." "You've done so much for me, Don. You pushed me through my struggles, set up an intervention, and got me checked into rehab. I don't need Rebecca. She's just a train wreck. She's always getting in my way and thinking of ways she could make me jealous. I wish I didn't reconcile our relationship. I don't need her. I need you. You're my biggest supporter, and I don't know what I would do without you," Marnie sighs, taking a sip of her coffee. "She needs to learn a lesson, and if that means I have to cut contact with her to pursue a relationship with you, I'm going to." Don's heart raced as Marnie spoke so passionately, telling him how much he meant to her. "Marnie, can I speak honestly?" he asked gently, his expression serious. Marnie opened a packet of sugar and glared at Don. "Sure, Don," she shrugged. Don sighed, sensing her defensiveness. "I appreciate everything you're saying, and I'm glad you feel that way about me, but I'm worried you're being a little too hasty with this whole cutting off Rebecca thing. Trust me, I'm not a fan of hers either, but she's still your sister. You can't just shut her out of your life like that. It's not healthy, and it's not fair to her." He reached out and touched her hand gently, his voice softening. Marnie sits back, eyes narrowed. You don't know the half of it, Don. Rebecca's been gunning for me since we were kids. I swear to God, it's like she's made it her life's mission to make me feel like shit. Always jealous, always watching. I was the one who got attention. Guys liked me, I had friends, I was living out my damn life, and she hated that. Hated that I didn't need her, didn't drag her along every time I had plans. She'd beg to come out with me, like every fucking time. And I'd say no because she was awkward and clingy and had this habit of inserting herself into shit that had nothing to do with her. Always lurking, always trying to be a part of something she wasn't invited to. It was exhausting. Marnie took another sip of coffee, continuing, and the worst part, I used to love hanging out with her. When we were kids, it was fun. We would build forts, sneak snacks, laugh at dumb cartoons. But somewhere along the way, she flipped. Started sucking up to my mom, painting me as the wild one, the screw-up. She'd played this perfect little angel act while I got blamed for everything. Every fight, every late night, every damn mood swing. Somehow, it was always me. It was fucking manipulative. She knew exactly what she was doing. She would twist things, stir shit up, and then sit back and watch me take the fall. And my mom ate it up, thought Rebecca was this sweet, misunderstood genius. Meanwhile, I was the one getting grounded, getting lectured, and getting told I was too much. Marnie paused again. Now she's still playing games. That crap she pulled with you, saying she was never into you, just wanted me jealous, that's textbook, Rebecca. She didn't want you. She wanted to fuck with me. Wanted to remind me that she could take something I cared about and twist it. That she could still get under my skin. I'm done letting her live rent-free in my head. She's toxic, and I'm not wasting another ounce of energy trying to figure out why. I know who she is. I've always known. Don listened to her intently, his expression turning grim as Marnie detailed the history of her strained relationship with her sister. It was far worse than he had realized, and he couldn't help but feel outraged on her behalf. I had no idea it was that bad, he said softly, still holding her hand. No wonder you're so fed up with her. She sounds unbelievably manipulative and selfish. Marnie sat up straighter, folding her hands on the table like she was bracing herself. Yeah, so now you know. She did the right thing when I was falling apart, checked me into rehab, showed up a few times, played the role, and I appreciated that. I'm not going to pretend I didn't. But let's not rewrite history. That doesn't erase the years of bullshit. The way she treated me growing up, that shit sticks. You don't forget feeling like the villain in your own house. You don't forget your own sister twisting the knife every chance she got. Don nodded slowly, fully understanding her point of view now. He couldn't imagine having a sibling like that, someone who was supposed to have his back but instead worked against him. I'm sorry you had to endure that for so long, he said quietly. You don't deserve any of that, and you certainly don't deserve to sacrifice your happiness to appease her. Don took a moment to gather his thoughts, then spoke softly, his eyes locked on hers. I've known you for a long time, Marnie, he said gently, and I've seen the way you light up when you're happy. You deserve to have people in your life who make you feel that way. People who support you, lift you up, make you laugh. People who make you feel loved and appreciated. I'm not saying you should cut your sister out completely, but it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to prioritize yourself. I understand, and I really trust you, Don. I have never told anyone the truth. Rebecca was always very reserved and never opened up, Marnie sighed. Don's expression softened as he leaned in closer, his hand still holding onto hers. It's understandable that you've kept this to yourself, Marnie. It's not easy to confront the reality of a toxic family dynamic. But I'm glad you're opening up to me now. You can trust me. He gently squeezed her hand, offering her a small smile. Marnie cleared her throat again. And if I could ask a favor, our conversations need to be entirely confidential. I don't need Liz or Kara digging into my business where they don't belong. I think we know how they operate by now. Don nodded seriously, understanding the need for discretion. Of course, Marnie. Your secrets are safe with me. I wouldn't breathe a word about any of this to Liz or Kara. We can keep our conversations private. Thank you, Don, Marnie sighed, leaning back into her chair. On a lighter note, I've got about 8 more weeks of rehab, and then I'll be settling into my new place. Without Rebecca, she smirked warmly. Don's expression brightened a little as Marnie mentioned her new living situation. That's great news, he said sincerely. Starting fresh in a new place without Rebecca. It'll be a good chance for you to focus on yourself and your own happiness. He reached over and lightly touched her arm, his features tender. I'm proud of you, Marnie. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for. I've come a long way, babe, and I'm just getting started, she smiled. Don's heart skipped a beat when Marnie called him babe so casually. He tried to play it cool, but he couldn't help the slight grin that curled at the corner of his lips. "Oh, so we're using pet names now?" he teased gently, raising an eyebrow. "Oh, come on, Don," Marnie chuckled. "You deserve it after everything we've been through together." Don rolled his eyes playfully, but he couldn't help the warm feeling in his chest. "You're going soft on me," he teased back. "Next thing I know, you'll be calling me sweetheart and darling." Marnie smirked. "Oh, don't give me any ideas now." She sipped her coffee. "So, how's work been going? Same old?" Don groaned, dragging a hand through his hair. "God, yeah. I didn't realize how much pressure came with the title until I was neck deep in it. It's non-stop. I stay busy, which helps, but it's a grind. I brought in an intern to help manage the office staff, but even that's been a headache." He leaned back, frustration flickering across his face. "Back-to-school PD was a mess. Teachers started pushing back about the modular classrooms, like I don't know what I'm doing. I was pissed. They act like every decision is up for debate. Even Liz turned on me, sided with them like I was some reckless idiot." Marnie raised an eyebrow but stayed silent. Don continued, voice tightening. "She knows where to hit. She brought up the South Street charter idea, said it was rushed, not thought through. Like she forgot every late-night conversation we had about fixing that place. I know what the school needs. I'm not going to let them undermine me or twist the narrative." He paused, exhaling hard. "I don't even remember if I told you about the charter school plan. You want to hear what really went down?" Marnie leaned in, her expression unreadable for a beat. "You want to know what's wild? I actually agree with Liz." Don blinked. "Wait, what?" She shrugged, swirling her coffee. "I mean, yeah, she's got a flair for drama and knows exactly where to jab. But she's not wrong about South Street. Turning it into a charter school, that's a massive shift. And you didn't exactly loop people in before dropping that bomb." Don opened his mouth, but Marnie kept going. "I get it. You're trying to fix things. You want control. You want progress. But you also want respect. And you're not going to get it by bulldozing through people who've been in the trenches for years. Modular classrooms, staffing changes, charter conversion, that's not just logistics." She paused, letting it land. "And yeah, Liz can be a pain in the ass, but she's not the enemy. She's just loud when she cares. Honestly, I wish more people gave a damn like she does." Don sat back, stunned into silence. Marnie softened, just slightly. "I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you're not listening. And if you want this school to thrive, you've got to stop treating pushback like betrayal." Don's jaw tightened. He leaned forward, voice low but sharp. "Okay, hold on. You agree with Liz? Seriously?" Marnie didn't flinch. He scoffed, shaking his head. "She doesn't care, Marnie. She's just a secretary and doesn't know better. She performs concern. She waits for the room to turn, then jumps on the loudest option like it's a lifeboat. I've seen it. She's not pushing back because she gives a damn. She's pushing back because it gets her attention." He ran a hand through his hair, eyes flashing. "And you think I bulldozed? I've spent months in meetings. I did the work. I know what I'm doing. I'm not some power-hungry asshole steamrolling the staff. I'm trying to build something that lasts. Something that doesn't crumble every time the district shifts priorities or funding dries up. And if people can't see that, if Liz wants to twist it into some personal betrayal, then maybe she's not as invested in the school as she claims." He paused, breathing hard, eyes locked on hers. Marnie leaned in. "Don't get defensive with me, Don." Her tone was cool, but the heat underneath was unmistakable. "You think I don't know how hard you've worked? I do. I've seen you grind yourself into the ground for that school, but you also have a blind spot the size of South Street itself. You don't listen. You decide, you announce, and then you act shocked when people push back." Don opened his mouth, but she didn't let him. She sat back, eyes still burning. "You're not wrong about the school needing change, but you're dead wrong if you think you're the only one who gives a damn. And if you keep steamrolling people who've been in the trenches longer than you've had the title, you're going to lose more than their respect. You're going to lose the soul of that place." Don blinked, stunned by the force of Marnie's words. His jaw clenched, but his voice cracked just slightly. "Wow, okay." He leaned back, eyes narrowing. "So now I'm the egomaniac who doesn't listen? That's rich." He laughed bitterly. He looked down at his coffee, then back at her. "I didn't expect you to side with her. I didn't expect you to call me out. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe I've been so wrapped up in trying to prove that I'm not the screw-up they all think I am. I stopped trusting the people who actually know me. I'm tired, Marnie. I'm tired of fighting for every inch. I'm tired of being the guy who has to hold it all together while everyone waits for me to fail." Marnie let out a dry laugh, shaking her head. You really don't get it, do you? You dropped that whole charter school bomb at Kara's Easter party, Don. Like, what the hell were you thinking? You couldn't wait? Couldn't just talk about literally anything else over dinner? Maybe a funny story, a movie, I don't know. Something that doesn't scream, I'm the principal and I brought a PowerPoint to brunch. She leaned in, voice rising. People don't go to Kara's parties to hear about work. They go to forget about work. To drink too much sangria and talk shit about their exes and pretend the school district isn't on fire. That's the whole point. If it wasn't, she wouldn't be throwing those damn things every month like clockwork. She paused, then added, and yeah, I heard about the slap. You didn't deserve that, but let's not rewrite history. You cussed Liz out and threatened her job. Of course she got defensive. That's what people do when they're cornered. Marnie's eyes darkened. You remember when you threatened me? Because I fucking do. I lost it, Don. I went full-on ballistic. Not because I'm unstable or dramatic, but because that job was the only goddamn thing keeping me afloat. It was my escape from everything else falling apart. And yeah, I forgive you for pushing me toward the help I needed. I do. But I'll never forget the way you talked down to me. Like I wasn't good enough. Like I didn't belong in that office. And graduation? Yeah, I heard. Rebecca told me Margaret talked you down from the charter school ledge. Said you weren't even close to pull it off in one summer. And yeah, she was right. You can't just slap together a renovation and expect it to magically work. That shit takes time, money, and planning. You can't just bulldoze a school and hope that the pieces fall into place. Marnie's voice softened, but the edge stayed. And let's be real, charter schools aren't some magic fix. They're small, expensive, and half the families we serve can't afford that kind of shift. The district can't even fund it properly because it's technically private. You were just trying to find a shortcut, and I get it. You're drowning in this job. But there's no shortcut, Don. There's just the work. Being a principal is fucking hard. You've got to lead, not just manage. You've got to show up, even when you're wrecked. And those trainings, those certifications I used to hang on my office wall like they meant something, that shit was earned. Every single one. I was breaking down behind the scenes, but I still showed up until I couldn't anymore. Her voice cracked, just slightly. There was no turning back once I started using. I spiraled. And yeah, getting fired fucking sucked, but in a twisted way, it saved me. So thanks for that. But don't think for a second it didn't gut me, that it didn't feel like you ripped the last thing I had out from under me. You want to be a real leader? Start listening. Start thinking about the kids, about the families, not just your legacy or your stress or your damn vision. That's what'll carry you forward. That's what actually matters. Don didn't speak. His mouth opened slightly, then closed again. The fight had drained him from his face, replaced by something raw, something quiet. He looked at Marnie like he was seeing her for the first time in months. He sat back slowly, eyes flickering down to the table, then back up to hers. You're right. His voice was low, almost hoarse. I brought it up. I made it about me. I didn't think about the timing, or the room, or how it would land. I thought if I said it out loud, maybe it would feel real, like I was doing something big, something good. He rubbed his hands together, then let them fall into his lap. But I didn't listen. Not to Liz, not to Margaret, not to anyone who actually gave a damn. I'm sorry, Marnie, for the party, for the job, for all of it. I didn't see how much you were carrying. I didn't see how much I was adding to it. He paused, then leaned in just slightly. Marnie watched him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Then she let out a slow breath and leaned back, the fire in her voice cooling. Okay, that's the first time you've actually listened without trying to fix it or defend yourself. I needed that. Her voice was quieter now, but steady. I know this job's eating you alive. I saw it happening before you did. You're not the only one who's felt like they were drowning. I've been there. Hell, I've lived there. And I know what it's like to feel like you're failing everyone, even when you're giving it everything you've got. She looked down at her coffee, then back up at him. You're not a monster, Don. You're not broken. You're just tired. And maybe you forgot for a minute that leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about being human, about showing up, even when you're wrecked, about letting people in, even when it's messy. I'm glad you're listening. And I'm still pissed about a lot of things, but I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. Marnie tapped her fingers against the coffee cup, then glanced sideways at Don. You know, she said, voice lighter, for someone who's supposedly drowning in work and stress, you've been awfully quiet about your personal life lately. Don raised an eyebrow. What personal life? She smirked. Exactly. You used to at least pretend to have one. Now it's all about charter schools and modular classrooms. I mean, come on. When's the last time you went out on a date or had a night that didn't involve spreadsheets? Don chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. I don't know. It's been a while. I guess I've been distracted. Marnie leaned in, her tone teasing but edged with something real. Distracted by what? Or who? Don hesitated, eyes flickering to hers, then away. I don't know if it's a good idea to get into that. She tilted her head, voice softening. Why not? You're already listening. Might as well say what's been sitting in the back of your mind. Don exhaled, slow and deliberate, like he was finally letting go of something he had been gripping too tightly. His voice was quiet, but steady. You want the truth? He leaned in, elbows on the table, eyes locked on hers. I've had feelings for you for a long time, Marnie. Longer than I should have. Longer than I ever admitted to myself. He gave a small, bitter laugh. Even when we were fighting. Even when I fired you. Even when I knew I was screwing everything up. I still thought about you. Not just in passing. Not just as a colleague. You were the person I wanted to talk to at the end of the day. The one I wanted to impress. The one I wanted to make proud. He paused, letting the weight of it settle. I didn't say anything because I thought I'd ruin it. I thought I already had. But sitting here now, after everything we've said, I don't want to keep pretending it's not there. That's the truth. I care about you. More than I should. More than I ever said. Marnie blinked, lips parting slightly at Don's words. She let out a soft laugh, trying to shake the weight of the moment. Well, damn, Don. I can't say I didn't expect that. Don gave a quiet smile, but didn't answer. Marnie looked at him, then away, then back again, her voice softer now. I think it's been obvious for a long time. I like you a lot, Don. You were the one person who could get under my skin and still make me want to show up. Even when things were falling apart, I'd catch myself wondering what you'd think. If you'd notice. If you'd care. Her eyes met his, steady now. I didn't say anything because I didn't trust myself. I was a mess, and I didn't want to drag you into it. But yeah, it was there. It's still there. She gave a small shrug, voice barely above a whisper. So now what? Don didn't hesitate this time. His voice was low but firm. No second-guessing, no deflection. Then let's stop pretending. He leaned in, eyes locked on hers. I care about you, Marnie. I've cared about you through every fight, every late-night email, every damn staff meeting where you made me laugh when I wanted to scream. And I'm tired of acting like that doesn't mean something. He reached across the table, fingers brushing against hers. Not grabbing, just grounding. You want to know what's been sitting in the back of my mind? He gave a crooked smile. It's you. It's always been you. And I don't want to keep waiting for the right moment or the perfect version of us. I want to see where this goes. Mess and all. He paused, letting it land. So if you're in, really in, I'm not holding back anymore. She held his gaze, steady and unflinching. But if you're serious, really serious, then you don't get to hide behind your job anymore. No more deflecting with spreadsheets and PD meetings. No more pretending you're too busy to feel things. Her voice sharpened, just slightly, teasing but firm. If you want this, Don, you have to show up. Not just when it's convenient. Not just when you're winning. I want the version of you that fights for the school and still remembers how to laugh at burnt lasagna. I want the guy who listens. The guy who doesn't run when things get hard. She leaned in, eyes glinting. So yeah, I'm saying yes. But I dare you to mean it. Don didn't flinch. He leaned in, eyes steady, voice low and sure. Then consider this me showing up. He reached across the table, this time not just brushing her fingers. He took her hand, firm but gentle, grounding the moment. I'm not hiding behind the job anymore. No more excuses. No more wrong timing. I care about you, Marnie, and I'm done pretending that's not part of the equation. She raised an eyebrow, teasing him with a flicker of a smile. You sure? Because I'm not exactly low maintenance. Don smirked. Neither am I, but I think we've already survived the worst of each other. He paused, then added, so let's stop surviving and start figuring out what this looks like. You and me. No titles, no politics, just us. Marnie's smile softened, her fingers tightening around his. All right then, Don. Let's see what you've got. Marnie's fingers were still curled around his. Her voice dropped, low and deliberate. Okay. If we're doing this, really doing this, then we need immunity. Don tilted his head. Immunity? She nodded. No one knows. Not Rebecca, not Kara, not Michelle, and definitely not Liz. Her tone sharpened on that last name. "This doesn't go in the group chat. It doesn't get whispered in the staff lounge. It stays here, between us." Don leaned back slightly, processing. "You think they'd freak out?" Marnie gave a dry laugh. "Freak out? That's putting it lightly. They'd dissect it like a science project. Kara would go absolutely mad and obsess over every detail. Michelle would ask if we've defined the relationship every 5 minutes. And Liz," she paused, eyes narrowing, "forget about the gossip. Liz would weaponize it. She'd twist it into some power play like I was manipulating you or you were distracted. I'm not giving her that ammo." Don nodded slowly, the weight of it settling in. "All right, immunity. Just us." Marnie smirked. "Good, because I don't want this to be a spectacle. I want it to be real." Dawn reached for her hand again, firmer this time. "It is." As they sat there, fingers still intertwined across the coffee shop table, both of them felt a sense of relief wash over them. For the first time in a long time, they had all their cards laid out on the table. It wasn't just about physical attraction or convenience. They genuinely cared for each other. And finally, after so many years of dancing around it, they were ready to see where this could lead. It wouldn't always be easy, but they were hopeful.